Am I the asshole to potentially abandon my elderly ill-mill? 2 years ago my 76-year-old mother-in-law moved in with my husband and I after Hub's stepdad passed away. Hubs has always done and gone whatever he wants when he wants and is very much a high-functioning alcoholic. I gave up years ago and checked out mentally, knowing financially I couldn't leave, and knowing what I married now I live with it. Fast forward to his mom moving in. Several times she has been hospitalized, resulting in her needing almost total care upon returning home, which I do around my full-time work schedule. She keeps rebounding but can't have too much more fight at her. COPD, emphysema, still smokes like a chimney. Anyway, recently my own stepmom passed away about a year after my dad, her husband. It seems there could be significant inheritance, and am I the asshole to use this to finally leave a situation that has kept me in misery for almost 10 years? Or do I wait until mother-in-law inevitably passes? He will not take care of her like I do, and someday doesn't even see her because he doesn't like going in her room. He doesn't grasp how frail she is and has actually suggested she is playing up her symptoms for attention. He is and always has been a narcissist, but that's a story for a different day. Take the money and run. Divorce your husband before your husband can lay claim to that inheritance. Suck it up and get out. Live on friends' couches in the meantime. Speak with an estate lawyer and a divorce attorney ASAP. Get the F out. Not the asshole. You have been a saint doing a favor for others. The universe is sending you a lifeline. Life is too short to stay in a bad marriage when you can choose a different life. Not the asshole. If you are concerned that he will neglect her, you can put in a call to Adult Protective Services and let them know the situation. Not the asshole. Keep checking on any inheritance. Was there a will? Who is the executor or administrator? Contact an attorney to get some basic info on how to make plans to leave. Not sure if you are in the US or where, but check on county, state laws if a spouse is entitled to any inherited property, funds. Could be your husband can't touch what you inherit. I hate to be blunt, but the mom is your husband's issue, not yours. I'm sure you have a good heart and have compassion. Bless you, but this is on him. Good luck, and I hope to see an update on that you are packed, gone, in your new world. There is an Adult Protective Services who are supposed to help make sure elderly people are being taken care of. I would not feel guilty for leaving, but I would personally contact the APS to keep an eye on her and make sure your ex is taking care of her. And if she does have money, that money can be used to pay for a facility that will care for her. Not the asshole. Your mother-in-law belongs to your husband. Leave him. Leave her to him. Am I the asshole? Won't be home for Christmas. My wife and I have 3 young children. One is under 1 year. We have lived on the opposite coast from my family for the duration of my marriage and children having years. We have made the effort to fly ourselves and children home every Christmas except one where my wife had just had our second, during COVID. We also usually come at least one other time a year. We have room to host family and friends in our home, and have always welcomed all guests. This year we have been home 5 times for various reasons: funerals, Easter, weddings, etc. We were home within the last month, and I got sick with some kind of virus and my kids got it from me when we returned home. We are just now starting to feel better. Additionally, money is tight this year, because of my job and wife taking maternity leave for our third. Tickets to fly home were more than both of us currently have in our bank accounts. We have not taken a vacation this year, only flown home for the 5 trips. I told my family that we were not going to be able to make it home this year, and that we were sorry. I was already very sad about the situation and embarrassed that my finances couldn't cover the trip. But I knew we had already been many times this year to visit. The response was hurtful. I was told this was poor planning on my part, and that I should have skipped an earlier visit instead, that my mother puts a big effort in the holiday, and it wasn't fair to change the plan this late in the year. My mother offered to loan me the money to fly, but I told her that I still have not even bought any gifts for my kids or wife, and that we already have accrued some credit card debt this year. My brother also doubled down and said this was an impulsive decision, and that from an outsider's perspective, we seem like we have enough money, and that this was news to them. I am really angry and am struggling with what to do. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You don't go, and you let them be mad. They don't have to suffer the consequences of you going. They don't have to pay back money they don't even have for a trip they don't really want to go on. You will be missed, but nothing bad will happen. Agree with them. Tell them it was poor planning on your part. Then make sure that you don't go all year, and that way you can afford to go next Christmas. You have an excellent reason to say no all year long. Not the asshole. You don't have to justify yourselves if your finances won't stretch this year, then that is the end of it. Xmas shouldn't be about getting into debt and making the new year depressing. I'm sure your mother does put in a lot of effort for the holidays, but ask her where she used to go before she was your mother. Was there someone who always did Christmas? When did it move to her to be the host? Remind her that she was in your place once a young family, Making your own family things. I'm sure she disappointed someone at some time around not going to some event. As we grow older, have our own families, etc. Things change, traditions end and begin. Things can't stay the same way forever. Not the asshole. Your home is on the opposite coast. You don't have the money. That's the reality. Just because they don't understand or believe it, doesn't make it less true. Have a good holiday at home with your family and don't feel guilty. You've been there 5 other times this year. How often have they been out to see you? Not the asshole. You will be home for Christmas. You're home, with your family. If your parents and sibs can't understand that, so be it. Not the asshole. You have your own family, your wife and 3 children. They already made more than enough trips home to visit your extended family, in addition to not being able to afford the trip. Stay home, enjoy the time with the wife and kids. Your mom, although possibly well-meaning, should accept your answer for not accepting the loan of the money to fly there, and your brother is just sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. Just because it looks like someone is affluent, does not mean that they are. Not the asshole. You just returned from visiting. To put so much weight on a single day is bizarre to me, especially since travel is also so much more expensive during the holidays. Yes, tomorrow's not guaranteed, but if the fates allow, you with your spouse and littles can visit another time. You guys can Zoom, Teams, video visit on the day if you all want to see each other. Am I the asshole for refusing to save tickets to my graduation for my stepmom and stepbrother? I graduate high school in a few months, and was told that I'm allowed 10 free tickets for family. Other tickets are available for purchase. Recently, my father asked about tickets and I told him about the free ones. He claimed that he should get 5 and my mother's side of the family should get 5 to make it fair. I told him that under normal circumstances I would agree, however there are only 3 family members on his side that I'm offering tickets. The 3 are my father, my grandma, and my grandpa. The rest are my mother, sister, stepdad, brother-in-law, and 3 grandparents on that side. He claimed this was unfair, and that I needed to uninvite my stepdad and brother-in-law in order to invite my stepmom and stepbrother. I said that if they would like to attend, I have no objections. But my stepmom does not want to go and has been separated from my father for months. For background context, she's left us 3 times before. This time, she kicked my father and I out of the house instead. Also, she has started the divorce process. I now currently live with my mother as my primary caretaker. Back to the story though. My father called me selfish, disrespectful, and said that my stepfather and brother-in-law were not even family. He also said that my graduation day is not about me, it's about the people who raised me, so I had no right over who is invited. I disagreed and told him so. He said that if I didn't invite my stepmom and stepbrother, he would not be attending, nor would he allow my grandparents on his side to attend. He then called me a disappointment and dropped me off at my mother's house. It's been 5 hours and he's now calling and texting non-stop saying I need to apologize to him. Am I the a-hole? Update. Thank you guys so much for the reassurance that I'm not insane lol. My mother agrees with you guys and I plan to ask my sister about the situation in the morning as she had to graduate high school when my dad was married to our mom, so she's seen the worst of his behavior before. I will definitely call my grandparents in the morning, but should I call my dad as well? I'm a little worried that I let him down because he's still my dad. A little more info about my stepmom and father though. My stepmom adopted my stepbrother from another country when he was 2. He is 9 now and my father never adopted him as well. My father has only been married to her since 2020 and he idolizes her. It's strange how perfect he thinks she is. She's fake, hates me, and despises the fact that I'm WLW. I've lived with my dad as my primary parent since I was 6 up until 2 years ago. This was for no other reason than 6 me wanting to live with a fun parent. Everything was fine until he married her and he's slowly gotten harder and harder to deal with. Overall, I'm just wondering if I should call my dad and finish the conversation tomorrow morning, or if I should leave it and act like nothing happened. Second update. I tried to call my father to calmly explain my actions and apologize for ignoring him. He didn't answer. He is currently ignoring me because he's upset and acting out. I have tried to handle this as a non-childish way, but this man is no adult. My grandparents haven't answered me either, so I'm worried he's already got to them. It's been 24 hours and this man is unemployed. There's no way he hasn't been able to get to his phone. I'm going to limit contact as much as possible. I can't deal with him anymore. Unfortunately, due to shared custody and court-appointed calendars, I am not able to refuse visitation. Especially since I'm still a minor. Not only that, but I have to spend 9 days with him starting after Christmas. Now I don't know how this will go down, but it's not going to be pretty. If anyone would like an update later if he contacts me, please comment and I'll get on that. Not the asshole. Call your paternal grandparents ASAP and tell them the whole story. Ask them if they plan to boycott your graduation for the women who threw you and your father out of the house. If they have a spine, they'll deal with him. Not the asshole. Your graduation tickets are yours to distribute as you wish. Reach out to your grandparents separately from your father. You are about to become an adult if you aren't already, and your relationships are yours to continue and maintain. He also said that my graduation day is not about me, it's about the people who raised me. Your dad is delusional, which you could probably tell from him trying to push for a woman who is divorcing him and kicked you both out of her home. Not the asshole. Your dad needs help. Contact your grandparents directly to invite them so your dad can't poison the well by lying about why he's not going. Not the asshole. It sounds like your dad wants to use your graduation as a reason to be in the same place as your stepmom. So your dad said that your stepdad and stepbrother shouldn't be invited as they aren't even family. Neither is your stepmother and her son. Following your dad's flawed logic, they shouldn't be invited either. Your graduation is about you, and you get to decide who celebrates that day with you. Your dad is making it about himself, likely out of insecurity or control issues, and trying to dictate your choices. You've been more than fair by offering tickets to the people who actually support you. Definitely not the asshole. Am I the asshole that I refused to sit next to my brother on a plane? I, 29 female, have 4 siblings, all adults. My dad, 63, and my oldest brother Cole, 35 male, live in Asia, while the rest of the family lives in Germany. My grandmother, who also lives in Germany, recently passed away, so we all planned to go to the funeral immediately. I've never been super close to Cole, but recently we started hanging out more, which I enjoyed. While buying the airplane tickets, I made it clear I wanted to sit alone next to the window. My dad loves to sit in the aisle, and my brother Cole prefers a window seat. I haven't traveled with family since I was a teenager, and I like to travel, flights, alone. Cole, however, was furious. He saw it as a family trip and told me the family must sit together. I didn't mind spending some quality time together, however sitting in a limited space does not qualify as a quality time for me, especially a red eye. Fast forward to the arrival at the check-in counter. I asked for a separate window seat. Cole interrupted and told the airport employee that we'd sit together and that he'd take the middle seat. I caved in. On the plane, I put the tip of my elbow on the armrest, and he moved my arm, chuckled, and said, "According to the flight etiquette, the middle seat gets both armrests, haha." Now he's not an etiquette guy. I felt slightly annoyed, but whatever. The flight itself wasn't bad, but my flying experience with strangers next to me so far was better. During our stay in Germany, we had a nice time together, had a beautiful funeral, and headed back home. This time I again told him that I'd like to sit alone. My dad didn't care about sitting together. Cole, again, pushed me to sit together. In front of the check-in counter, I stood my ground and asked for a separate seat. My brother and my dad were seated together and got middle and aisle seats. Before boarding, he called me a traitor multiple times. I didn't respond. I had a lovely trip back home. The middle seat wasn't occupied, so I was lucky. When we landed, we took a taxi home. I told Cole that I had a very nice flight. He responded that he had an awful flight because the guy who got the window seat was irritating, loud, and well, simply, big. He gave me a dirty look. I, again, said nothing and just wanted to let things go. Later in the evening, he texted me that I didn't appreciate his sacrifice to sit in the middle, and I value my comfort over personal relationships and the needs of other people. Cole also texted that I rubbed in his face my nice experience while he had the worst flight of his life. Now, I am upset and frustrated because apparently, he blames me for this. We both want to repair our relationship, but his neediness to sit with me and putting blame on me is pushing me away. Does a family that travels together must sit together? Maybe I don't see something objectively in this situation. Am I the asshole for refusing to sit next to my brother on a plane? INFO. On what airline, in the year 2024, do you choose your seat by telling the employee at the check-in counter at the airport what you want? Also, if Cole lives in Asia and you don't, why is he flying with you to and from wherever it is that you live? Edit. Apparently the answer to question 1 is Turkish Airlines has a system where you have to pay extra if you want to choose your seat in advance, otherwise they assign you a seat at the check-in counter. And Q2 was that OP apparently neglected to mention having recently moved to Asia herself? Anyway, not the asshole. As far as I can tell, there was no reason OP's taking a window forced Cole to have a middle in a different row. Not the asshole. You're an adult and your brother doesn't get to pick your seat for you. But just as a PSA, the middle seat does get both the middle armrests. If both the window person and the aisle person choose to use both of their armrests, then they've removed all the armrests from the middle seat and now a middle seat sucks even more. The window seat gets one armrest and a window. The aisle seat gets one armrest and the ability to use the bathroom without asking others to move. The middle seat gets 2 armrests. That's how planes work. I personally would never travel with family to and from the same destination and specifically ask to not be seated with them. Weird flex. Not the asshole. He's baiting you. He didn't want to sit next to you to work on his relationship with you. He wanted to sit next to you to annoy you for the entire flight. Not the asshole. Since Cole knew you were not sitting next to him on the way home, it wasn't a sacrifice for him to take the middle seat. He could have done as you did and sat anywhere available. Very soft Ash. People grieve differently. Cole may have wanted closeness and comfort of familiarity, while it seems you enjoy the comfort of solitude. He admitted he doesn't like the middle seat. Who does? So he was already sacrificing some of his comfort just to be physically close to people he knows. Travel sucks. Red eyes suck. You both missed an opportunity to support one another more fully.